Gustav Klimt and Egon Schiele were great admirers of the great Swiss artist Ferdinand Hodler, who has remained little known in the USA. A major retrospective at the New Gallery in New York, Ferdinand Hodler, A View to Infinity, shows clearly what the better-known artists saw of worth in their neighbor's work. Organizing curator Jill Lloyd talks to Canapé about mounting a breakthrough exhibit.
Hodler is really a marvelous realist painter, and observation and realism remain very, very central to everything he does, all the way through his life. You know, he's always looking, and everything in a sense is based on the eye, on observation. But, having said that, he was very much in touch with the symbolist poets and painters at the turn of the century. His art moves in a symbolist direction, then actually fed into expressionism. So there are these veins of connection between these movements. Hodler lived a long lifespan through realism, through symbolism. But by the end of his life, which our exhibition concentrates on, he's very much evolved his own blend of all these artistic movements. Realism we would associate with looking at the world and observing exactly what's going on. Symbolism is more of an art about ideas and theories, and that was very important to him. He basically, lying behind all his work from the 1890s onwards is this theory of what he called parallelism. He felt there were laws underlying nature, geometrical laws. So, for example, he associated vertical lines with an affirmation of life. He associated horizontal lines with the absence of life, with death. And then the repetition of these lines was a way of showing this unity that underlined nature. Death is really an important theme in his work. And this is partly to do with personal experience, because he lost 7 brothers and sisters to tuberculosis. He was the only surviving child of his family. And so sickness and death was something very prevalent. But what then happened with Ferdinand Hodler is that 2 of his lovers died. First of all, Augustine Dupin, who was the mother of his child, Hector, and then, even more importantly, Valentine Godidarel. And our exhibition really sees this episode of Valentine Godidarel as a turning point in Hodler's life. He almost obsessively records her illness and death. This is a moment, I think, where he then begins to reflect on his own mortality. He did self-portraits at the beginning of the 20th century, were quite an important theme for him. Then he stops doing self-portraits completely until 1912. And then as Valentine falls ill and he begins to reflect on his mortality, you get these wonderful late self-portraits by Hodler. And finally, you break through to what he called his view to infinity. And there are very lyrical paintings, elegiac paintings at the end of his life, hopeful paintings. They're about the sunrise, not the sunset. He watches the sunrise over Lake Geneva every morning. And colour completely takes over from form. Colour has always played an important role for Hodler, symbolically. But blue is the colour that he associates with everything that is transcendent and of the spirit. And his paintings end up with this marvelous composition he called View to Infinity, which is all in blue. So there is, at the end of his life, yes, a turning away from death and a search in the landscape and in the figure for something infinite, something that goes to a transcendent level.